Testing, 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 testing. Micah, welcome to, we'll call it a show, I suppose. You just finished your first season as a college athlete, finished your freshman year at Mid-Michigan, CC. So there's three things I want to ask you about for all the people that are watching at home and are interested in playing basketball at the next level. Okay, so the first question is, what were the things that you did in high school correctly that helped prepare you to play college basketball?
All right, thanks for having me, by the way. There were a couple things that come to mind when you asked that question. The first one was lifting weights. I had been lifting weights throughout high school. So when I got to college, the movements that we were doing in the team workouts, they were not foreign to me at all. It wasn't something that was completely new that I had to learn right away. It was stuff that I had been doing for a long time already, so that helped with a few things. It helped because physically I was ready for certain things already by the time I got there, and also it helped with injuries. I was less likely to get injured because those lifts weren't foreign to me, and also it just helps to kind of have those things that you're used to. So you're in a new environment already with new players, so all that new stuff kind of adds up, so it's kind of nice to have something that you're used to. So I'd say lifting was very important for me to learn with the proper movements. And also not being too one-dimensional. You see a lot of players that are very one-dimensional, and it works for them in high school, it works for them at a certain level, but once they get to the college and the defense takes that away from them and they can't do anything else, they just can't be in the game. So it's not that I'm this great player that can score at all three levels. I'm not great at all of them, but I am good enough to do all of them. If the defense kind of gives me that advantage, then I can take it. So I'd say being able to finish at the basket, which I'm not super good at, but I can. Mid-range jumper, that was probably my go-to, and of course being able to hit the three. So I'd say being good at all three levels just helped me so much, so I could read the defense, kind of take what they give me.
So being a well-rounded player,
Yep.
and being able to, college basketball is bigger, stronger, faster, so knowing your way around the weight room can go a long way. If you could do it all over again, what were some of the things you would have done differently to prepare to play at the next level?
Also, that kind of starts in the weight room. A lot of the lifts I did, they built strength and they built a lot of endurance. So something that I've always excelled at is endurance. I was a long distance runner. I can just go for days and not get tired. I wish I would have worked more on explosiveness, upper body explosiveness, lower body explosiveness mostly, and just injury prevention methods, stretching more. So I definitely wish I would have made a better habit of stretching throughout high school instead of just lifting for endurance pretty much. And also other things, I wish I had kind of had more moves in my bag that had become second nature to me. I found that once the defense got tough, sometimes I would turn a certain way to protect the ball, and I got myself out of attack position, or I'd find myself doing the same move over and over because that was the one that I had down the most. And it was good to have those moves down because a lot of times they work, but I do need to add more moves to my game to the point where I can pull them out without thinking. So I wish I would have had maybe 2 more moves that were second nature, and that would have helped so much.
So adding a little bit more variety to your game to the level that you're very comfortable doing it against more intense defensive pressure. And then it's not just the fact that you were lifting weights. You said, it's interesting, you said weightlifting was a strength and it was a weakness at the same time. I think that's really a cool thing to think about. You obviously need to know your way around the weight room, but how you train in a way to transfer to specific sports such as basketball is really, really important. For our members and our coaches and our new program, we're coming out with a brand new lifting program that's specific for basketball players, that's going to help you with the explosive nature of the game. And obviously that's something that I also wish that I would have worked on sooner. We had a great weightlifting program in high school, but to do the exercises in a way that built the explosive movements more geared toward the game of basketball would have gone a really long way. Last question. You suffered pretty significant injuries as a high school athlete, tearing both labrums in your hips. What is something and a piece of advice that you could give to all the other athletes out there that have had other types of significant injuries? So explain your injury a little bit, and then what allowed you to, still be able to battle through that, to go through the recovery process, the rehab process, and end up having a great senior year and playing college ball?
That's a tough question because it was such a long process. There's so much that goes into it, but like you said, I had 2 torn labrums. They were kind of non-impressionable. One was worse than the other, so it didn't need surgery, but I had been playing through that for so long where it screwed up my hip flexors, my IT bands, and my adductors were also strained in here. That was probably the worst pain, and also high hamstring strains, and then just lower back pain and abdominal tears because of that. And what I learned through that is that you always hear it's a marathon, not a sprint. And just that, going through that injury, I could really hear that ring true more than ever, because you're not going to get healed in a day. You're not going to get a great jump shot in a day. So there were certain things that I could fix in therapy, and it was a grind. The first day of therapy, we were doing some simple glute bridges. I had to do 15. And I was like almost yelling, and I was drenched in sweat after one set, and now I could rep out, 25, 30 of those in a row, no problem. So slowly building and slowly making progress, and just getting the mindset to where you can take these short victories, just short gains, and take those as victories that can fuel you for the bigger picture. So yeah, I had a big picture of wanting to be a great basketball player, and I still have that big picture. But in order to get there, I need to have short-term gains. I need to have the victory of making my hip flexors more mobile. I worked on that just this year, freshman year going into college, because that's always been an issue. And my vertical gained 2 or 3 inches just in a couple weeks of working on that. So certain areas gave me little victories that are going to keep pushing me forward. So basically just keeping that long-term mindset while working on short-term goals has helped me tremendously. And I'd say what I really started doing this year, especially during the season, I didn't play a ton this year, and even if I would have played, I still would have worked out a lot on game days. In college, I had a lot of spare time actually, so I would usually go to the gym in the morning. I would lift weights, I would shoot hoops, I would do drills, and then we'd have practice later that day, or we'd have a game later that day. So getting that extra work in, and that extra time of stretching, that extra time of lifting and getting shots up, that really gave me a boost to my game. I started playing so much better because I had that confidence in the work that I put in, and of course I had that repetition of the work that I put in, and also my body was getting looser even though I was putting in more work because I trained smarter. So really learning what my body needs and how to train, that helped me so much, and knowing when to train, what to eat, is just expanded my game a lot, and having that long-term mindset has changed the way I look at life.
And so it's great advice, and going back to the injury question, y'all have a vision for yourself, and keeping that long-term vision, but not taking for granted the daily steps. Every time you take a step, you've accomplished something, and not taking that for granted is the key to becoming more successful down the road. And that's also some great advice for you guys as far as some of the daily things that you can do as a college athlete. My biggest advice, if you're in high school and you want to play college ball, if you're in high school, treat yourself like you're already a college player. He's talking about basically doing 2-a-days in season, practicing in the afternoon with his team, and then going to work out on his own before practice in the morning. You want to play college basketball, you're not competing against all the other kids in high school that don't have the same vision as you. You're competing against all the ones that also want to play college hoops, and they may be a lot more talented than you. So it's up to you to work on your IQ, your skill set, strengthening your body, and then a couple other things that he also mentioned: stretching, nutrition, staying well rested. All of those things can be a big difference maker as you try to play at a higher and higher level. Appreciate it.
Yep.